any of the triangle departures so far surprise you? In the last 24 hours, we've had Terquavion Smith at NC State and Dariq Whitehead at Duke. Announcer going to the NBA. We had Caleb Love announce earlier in the week that he's transferring from Carolina. Anything has surprised you?
No, the biggest surprise I've had is that Caleb Love did not say he's going to Kansas today.
Mm.
That's the biggest surprise I've had.
You think that's where he's going to end up?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's going to Kansas, and I don't. It's not a fait accompli. That's my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think he's going to Kansas, and I think he can be at Kansas what guys have been who have transferred there. McCullers this year, is that right? The kid from Texas Tech who transferred there. I think he's the scoring guard for Bill Self next year. That's just an opinion.
Okay. Well, man, if he has an amazing year, that's going to go over really, really well in Chapel Hill with the fans.
And Dariq Whitehead, I will say this: Dariq Whitehead was a little surprised, but we all know that there's that NBA wrinkle that is about potential as much as it is proof, right?
Yes.
His potential.
We barely saw
incredible.
him. We barely saw him.
We barely saw Kyrie Irving too in our long history of watching this product unfold.
10 games, I think it was for Kyrie Irving. Was
Kyrie 10, Gilio?
I think it was either 9 or 10 because he played 8, got hurt, and then he played in the one NCAA tournament.
Oh, he didn't show up to the ACC championship.
No, he played in the Arizona game.
That's what it was.
They got run out of the gym.
I remember now. I remember.
So
it was 11
games.
10,
and then he got hurt the foot.
Okay.
Came back and played in the one tourney.
To follow on this, I guess I'm more curious as to guys that are going into places. Paxson Wojcik to Carolina. Where's NC State going to go next from that portal specific?
There's a couple Carolina guys are available.
Well, that's true too. And the Styles thing is going to. We're going to get the modern day Bones McKinney here. And if that happens, that'll be really interesting. Yeah. And if it transpires that way, get ready. Those games then all of a sudden take on
spicy. I like it.
Already.
I like it.
If they weren't already, that kind of thing.
So let me ask you this. Wes Durham, ACC Network, ESPN. We'll close on this. We talked to Brendan Marks of The Athletic in the previous segment about his deep dive into what went wrong for Carolina's season. And interesting quotes from anonymous parents. A lot of Dennis Love, Caleb Love's father, on the record, which cool. I always appreciate people going on the record. I had a slight disagreement.
Not as much as Gilio, but I know what you mean.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
I had a little bit of a disagreement with Brendan and maybe even with Gilio to a certain extent. So the whole premise of this year was that they could not handle going from the hunter, easy, free, nobody expects anything from us, we shocked the world, to the expectations. They didn't handle it well. I think we all recognize that.
Right.
That it's gonna revert back to how it was in 2021. And I don't feel that's the case. I don't feel that there's some sort of weight lifted, that everybody's kind of counted it out. I actually feel that the pressure increases for just about everybody involved. The pressure increases on Hubert Davis to get the portal right, who he's bringing in. I think the pressure increases for guys like Armando Bacot and R.J. Davis because the guy that could easily be pointed at, Caleb Love, is no longer there. So I feel like there's a lot at stake for UNC this offseason and how they go about it and how eyes will be on them next year to see how they respond. I think it's a different kind of pressure.
I think you're right in that it's two versions that are at opposite ends of the spectrum in the first 2 years of Hubert Davis.
Yeah.
So where's the norm? Where's the middle ground?
Don't know.
We don't know. We've seen two different type things happen. We talked last week about the 6 weeks that they played really well a year ago, right? Roughly. And did they ever find their rhythm this year? And you could argue no. Some would argue yes. I would say there were sequences of it, but not anywhere near, big slices of what you thought Carolina would be.
Sure.
The portal has got to be right. The recruiting and the player development has got to continue. As much as you can continue it, right? Seth Trimble, DeMarco Dunn, guys that came off the bench and played minutes for him. But I would say so, yeah. The Paxson Wojcik, that might move the needle a little bit, but that doesn't do a ton for me in terms of where is there going to be this Brady Manic, Pete Nance player that comes in the portal?
Better be better than Pete Nance.
Right, but here's the other thing too, Gilio. Who's the guy you're going to count on Who is it? R.J. Davis and Armando Bacot. Those are the proven veteran pieces of your team. But who else is there going to be?
Yeah,
There's got to be somebody
I think
else.
That was and I think Brendan did write about this. They were a talented team that, I don't know how talented they were.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm be perfectly honest with you. We've talked a lot about Bacot before. I think Bacot is at his best when he is cleaning up the trash.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's a great skill to have. But I don't necessarily view Armando Bacot as a guy who you run your half court through and has to touch the ball. I don't think he is that skilled of a scorer. I think he is a great rebounder. I think he is great at putbacks. But I'm not sure he is this off the charts, let me clear everything out and give you the ball. It's interesting. We had this conversation with Jeff Capel earlier this week, and I asked him, how do you know when someone's tough? That's what I think Hubert Davis needs to do. We don't need to know who the heck they are before they get there.
Yeah.
But you look at the Final Four this week. I don't know anything about San Diego State other than they got some tough guards. I don't know a whole lot about Florida Atlantic other than I look at them and I go 1 through 4. Now Florida Atlantic could be a path. To be perfectly honest with you, they have the Russian Ruski in the middle, who is he's like this good college player. This is a theme that Joe and I have been developing. Who
was at Texas Tech, right?
You want good college players. Back in the old days, you wanted a pro. I think now you want a Bacot, who is a good college player, but not necessarily a pro. But you look at FAU and who's around him, Golden, those are tough players.
Davis?
Yeah, those are tough. I think Davis is a tough player.
Yeah,
R.J. Davis. I'm
talking about the kid at Florida.
John L.
Yeah, John L. Davis.
That's what I'm saying. And I think that should be the goal of all these guys. And that's where the paradigm shifts for Carolina. It used to be, hey, look at this guy's logo on our jersey. He's the greatest to ever do it. You could be him. Cool. Not sure he wins now because he ain't going to get to year 3, which he got to when he was there. And that guy's Victor Wembanyama right now. That's who, right? So you're not getting him to come to Carolina or Duke or anywhere in college basketball. Yeah. That's not a slight on them. Those are the ones who have to change. And just to go back, I don't think Caleb Love's tough enough to play for Bill Self. Bill Self has a different standard. All of his teams are tough. He's going to have a really hard time if that's where he ends up. I could see him going to Missouri and scoring a ton of points. Because that's the style that Missouri plays. Yeah. But straight up, I'm just telling him right now, he's not tough enough to play for Bill Self.